Well, hello there everyone, welcome to NRL Season 6, Round 7. Sixes and sevens, we are at the Hungary this afternoon. We are racing a 50% race and a short qualifying session. Looks like we're going to have a full grid, possibly, maybe one empty seat. Who isn't here just yet? Henry hasn't chosen his car, so we need to choose his car quick before we get properly readied up. Samba is the current championship leader with 97 points. Stein is his closest challenger with 79. So he's got a quick maths 18-point gap. Stein is racing tonight, so he's got to be hoping for a good points finish. There we go. We have 21 in here. What's going on here? Why have we got 21? Looks like we've got one too many reserves. Someone's dropped out. Who's dropped out? Yeah, so we're just currently sorting out who's going to go in what car, which is we should have started 4 minutes ago, and we are now still sorting cars out. Looks like we've had one too many reserves be allocated a car, and not enough drivers, so hold the line. We'll be going very shortly. So let's go quickly back to the championship standings. So yeah, drivers is Samba at the top with 97, Stein in second with 79, and Callie Robbins third with 64.5 points. Henry's joined us, so he's on 60, so he's got to hope for a big point scoring finish and hope Samba doesn't, to close the gap from fourth up to first. And drivers without points, Tomko Prof, Tomasi, is Tomasi racing? I'm not sure. Some names are different to what they are in Discord. Brexit Beast hasn't got any points. Andre OGB's got 0.5 reserves. The new driver Vincent got P8 in his last race in USA, and he said that was his worst track, and he got P8, so he's hoping for a good point scoring finish. With regards to the constructors, well, AlphaTauri are on top with 100. Samba is in second, or Mercedes is in second with 97, so Samba's got all of Mercedes' points so far this season. And McLaren are on 90, so the constructors is a lot tighter, even down to fourth. There's only 15.5 points separating fourth to first, with Alpine sat down there. Then you've got Ferrari, Williams, Alfa, Aston Martin, Haas and Red Bull at the bottom with 0 points. So we're just loading into the lobby now, and we'll be going racing very shortly. Now, weather in Hungary can be very hit and miss, very mixed. It's very hot part of the world is Hungary. When it's hot there, it is very hot, and when the weather changes, it changes in an absolute instant. It's been known as Monaco, or Monaco without the walls. It's very tight, it's very twisty, and yeah, it's going to be interesting for overtakes. The curbs on this year's game are sort of all tracks are very unforgiving, and it's going to be especially hard through turns 10 and 11 and 12, and then up the hill into turn 4 and 5. It's going to be pretty interesting as well. So track limits are on strict, so watch out for track limit penalties. Stuart Little is the king of track limit penalties, so watch out for how many penalties he can rack up today. I'm trying to think who else is pretty good on penalties. Viet in SFR got quite a few last weekend. No SFR race this week, so break week on Sunday for SFR, so we're not going to be racing there this weekend. The Mercedes of standing 497 Crib appears to be the first driver out on track, so we will follow him around until yeah, so we'll watch his first lap, and a stream of cars coming out behind. First driver to cross the start-finish line to start their hot lap will get their lap completely viewed. Obviously we're starting to see the in real life cars be released over the last couple of weeks. Mercedes have reverted back to their silver, so I'm looking forward to seeing that silver car back on track. However, the black is very smart, it's very sleek, so I will miss the black, but going back to the silver, there's a bit of black on there. The floor of the car looks like it's held some of the black, and they've gone for that green still on the rear wing. Bit of red for Nicky Lauda on the hat, as he always walked around with a red baseball cap. So they've made out that you know, the bits above the engine cooling, where the engine is the hat of Nicky, and a little red star as well, one for Nicky as well. It's always good. There's a couple of cars fighting in the background, trying to get I think it's a Red Bull and the Aston Martin having a few battles on track. The Red Bull is behind him. That Red Bull is going to be diagonal, MAR diagonal. So let's jump back on board with 497 Crib as we let's go cockpit mode and see what he's got in his back pocket. So he's coming around the final corner. You want to get on the power as soon as you can, but you don't at the same time. It's one of those corners where you just got to hold off on the throttle and wait. So you come down to the heavy braking zone at turn 1, touches that outside curb, hugs the apex on the inside, and just kisses the curb on the exit as he runs down into turn 2. Again, another corner where you just got to stay off the throttle that little bit longer. Just be patient as you come round and you touch that inside curb there. Heavy fuel loads, you are going to be seeing cars flying off. We come up to the curb of death now on the inside. You don't want to run too wide, still valid. And the inside rain gully here, you're going to see a few drivers dip a right hand wheel in that inside bit and get thrown off. Here we go into the chicane. Nicely done through there, stays wide, runs along the curb, flows the car through, and we come round here again. You lift off, yeah, a little lift, a little bit of brake. Probably can do that flat out if the car is properly set up. You've got to set up on, but it's very, very tricky. You've got to have full confidence in the car. At this moment in time in qualifying, you just want to get a good lap in. As I said, track limits are going to be interesting today. You want to get a good lap in. Comes round the final corner, opens up the steering wheel, bit of oversteering there. He crosses the line with a 1:14.492. Now there is an AlphaTauri coming in hot. That's going to be Stuart Little. No, it's not. It's going to be Tosta Kibba, and he just starts his lap. The next driver to cross the line is Yerdy with a 16.654. We've got Viet coming across the line, goes second with a 16.632. We've got Willans in the McLaren coming around the end of the second sector, runs very wide there, but doesn't get his lap invalidated. He uses the little glitch in the game to keep his lap valid. A bit twitchy on the exit of that corner. Runs a bit wide, wants to stay a little bit tighter there. He's got diagonal up ahead. He's coming into the pits, it gets out of the way. Wheel comes round the final corner and opens the steering wheel up. The yellow flag, just there's an Aston Martin, I think it's gone up at turn 5. Wheel crosses the line with a 15.802, and Samba goes just a tenth faster than standing. So Mercedes 1-2 at the minute. NRL Ben is coming. He's going to get a bit of a slipstream as he from Stewart. No, he decides not to follow Stewart up the hill and throws it into turns 4 and 5. Round the gully, doesn't get close enough to that. Runs a bit wide, but just keeps his lap valid. Stein staying out the way on the right-hand side. Stein's on an outlap. I will jump on with him shortly. Holmesy's off in the chicane. Henry's just starting his flying lap, invalidated as first. Bacon is just starting his lap. We'll jump back on board with him in a bit. Ciao! In the Ferrari, back to driving again after his little strop. And comes round the final corner. And he is going to cross the line with a 1:15.359. So he goes third fastest at the minute, but only 2 drivers in the 1:14. So that was a good lap actually from standing. Who are we going to jump back on with? We were going to jump back on with Stein, weren't we? On an out lap, just starting his flying. Havina is on a flying lap, didn't get a good lap in on his first one. Bit of understeer there for him through turns 10. Comes around that corner in the Alpine with a soft tyre on. Everyone's gone soft tyres so far. Locks up a bit, misses his apex completely there. So not the cleanest lap from Habina, but it is valid, so he will get a decent-ish time on the board. It's not going to be massively quick as he comes across the line into the 16s. Yeah, mid-16, so P8 for him. Stein stays quite tight to that inside rain gully curve there. As he's going to hit the chicane where he stayed out of the way for the last driver on the last lap, but this time fully committed in there, stays very wide. You see a lot of drivers doing that, staying wide there. A bit of gravel on the track from drivers who've got a little bit too wide there. So I don't know if that dirties up the track enough to get a bit of understeer on the car, but we'll see. Throws it into there, absolutely full faith in the car. Sets a personal best middle sector, his own personal best, no one else's so far as I'm aware. Tomago Prof gets well out of the way, which is good. Stein stays very tight to the turn 13, coming back on yourself, turn 14, and comes down across the line to go into the 1 minute 15s, just P4 15.059. Henry just a little bit faster as well with a 15.019. Toss is on an outlap, Bacon is invalidated, Calcis is just leaving the pits, Mr. Woot is in the pits, XD Diagonal Mar is so El Stifler says Kachow is the best on the YouTube stream. Yeah. Invalidates does XD Diagonal Mar. Gonna call him Mar, I think. Save me getting tongue twisted. Dace comes round the final corner, just hits the braking zone of the final corner, comes round it. Follows the car out, probably could have stayed a little bit tighter. It goes at 15.279 and puts himself into P5. Holmesy currently in P7, running these softs quite far into the stint now. The tyre strategy here, I think if you use a hard tyre you can do a one stop. If you use the softs and the mediums, then you're going to be going for a two stop. Starting on the hard, if you Diagonal Mar is very very in the middle of the track there. Probably maybe put Holmesy off a little bit, but I think he was probably coming in the pits anyway. Stewart is now on another flying lap, wants to get himself a bit higher up and get that time probably into the mid-15s, which is doable for him, definitely. Very fast driver on his day. Oh, very twitchy there, just about saves it. Not sure, it's probably going to lost him a little bit of time, isn't it, from previous lap. He might be able to gain a little bit. He's still running. Oh no, he completely cuts the chicane there. All out of shape. Beer starts his lap. Yurdy is a 10th up on his best time. He's going to see him jump at least one, if not two positions, but he probably can find a bit more time through the middle and the last sector to push himself up, right up the grid, hopefully into the midfield in the P9-10. It's definitely a driver who can get into the 1 minute 15s as Yurdy. But again, this track's very, one little mistake and you are invalidating your lap, so you've got to be nailed on for the whole lap completely. So Yurdy comes round the final corner. Yeah, there he is, into the 15s, a 15.922, goes fine 7/10, pushes him up into P10. Bang smack in the middle of the midfield, Will is invalidated, Tostek Kaba is in P7. He's going to get a bit of a slipstream, is he, on the car in front? Who's that going to be? That's the Mercedes, and that's on a flying lap as well, so they're not going to be getting out of the way. Might be getting a bit of dirty air from the car in front. It's Standing Crib. I think he may have abandoned this lap. This is an in-lap for him, so Toss might get a bit of dirty air from him through here. Was Samba on a flying lap? He is. So Diagonal Mar is out. Mar is out of the session. Out at turn 5, so it's Samba currently coming around turn 13 into turn 14. As far as I'm aware, these are the corner numbers. I am just guessing, but I'm pretty sure from memory these are the corner numbers. So don't hate on me. Samba goes, finds 3 and a bit tenths and goes into the mid 1 minute 14 to the 14.518, 4 tenths quicker than anyone else on the grid so far. Henry's abandoned his lap, so he'll be going again. Kachow has gone purple middle for his personal best middle sector, so he's looking to gain a bit more time, see how far he can push himself up the grid. Can he get into the 1 minute 14s? He's got 3.5 tenths to climb to do so. Comes round the corner. Oh, just 7 thousandths out of the minute 14 to the 15.007, but pushes himself up into P3. So the gap from P3, 4 and 5 is literally half a tenth. And then add another half a tenth to the gap to standing crib in P2. NRL Ben's abandoning his run, I think. Yeah, Holmesy in drop down to P10 now as Holmesy. As Will pushes himself up into P7 with a 1 minute 15. Yeah, but Will's used 2 laps on those medium tyres, and so has Calcis, who pushes himself up into P16. So Holmesy's probably in the position that he would normally want to be. If he stays in P11, this is where he likes to be. He likes to do an opposing strategy to everyone else, and normally makes it work. His qualifying hasn't been the best recently, so a P11 start for him would be absolutely perfect. Probably needs to find a few more tenths to guarantee a P11 start. Obviously drivers who start in P11 have free choice of the tyres. I'm not even sure what the weather situation is like. I have been tagged on something, so let's see. The race is going to start wet. Holmesy wiggles himself across the start-finish line. It's going to be a wet-to-dry race. Holmesy doesn't guarantee himself obviously, but he solidifies his P11 start. But if it starts wet, all drivers will have a tyre choice, so it doesn't matter what they use, hence why everyone's going Mark Henry in the pits. Hasn't done a lap yet. Mr. Woot gets his first podium in SFR last weekend on a good run of form. What can he do today? Comes around the final corner in the Williams, runs a bit wide, still valid lap, crosses the line and moves himself up a position above Viet into the P17 with a 16.277. Looks like everyone's in the pits. Dace is on an out lap. Holmesy's on an in lap. Bacon is just cutting grass. Yerdy's on an out lap. Havina doesn't look like he's pushing. Mr. Woot is doing donuts at turn 3. Viet comes round the final couple of corners on his out lap. So let's go to Dace. Let's watch Dace on his lap in the Haas. The American driving a Haas, or I say, you know, Haas is an American team, but with Russian colours. So work that one out. Joe Biden's probably spinning in his soon-to-be grave. Seeing an American car with Russian colours on, obviously with all the issues going on in the world so far. I won't go into politics though. As Dace comes around turn 5, into the chicane, brakes heavy, turns himself in late, gets a good run through there, stays wide, and just hit that inside curb being touched by that left front wheel. Good car positioning through there. Is he flat out through here? No, lets off completely. Little bit of brake. I think that these cars now, it is, on those previous games it was flat out, but I haven't seen a car attempt it flat out so far. He is up on his best time actually, as Dace. His purple middle his own personal best. So he will be, if he can keep this third sector together, he will be jumping up the time sheets, as it is very close. There's less than a second between P2 to P14, and he goes into P3. He goes 2.5 tenths quicker, just under 3 tenths in the end actually. 2 thousandths quicker than Kachau. Don't know if Kachau's bugging out or if he's just killing that Ferrari engine. Let's get off him because that's annoying. Calcis on an out lap. Viet on... He's not pushing here, is he? No. Stewart's on an out lap. Yerdy's on a flyer. So let's watch Yerdy's lap. See what he can do. Into... Nicely done, runs a bit wide and unfortunately invalidates. It's such a tricky corner that. see drivers go wider and keep it valid. It's all about how you manage the throttle and the brake pedal through there. Right, so we've got lots of drivers on outlap. Samba's on an outlap. Who's going to be the first one to start their lap? I think it might be Kachow. Or it might be Will even. I think Will's just lining himself up now. So Will is going to be the first driver. Who is that? No, he's not. Is he? I don't know. He's weaving a bit down the straight. I think Stuart actually is already on his lap. He's still valid, so let's ride on board with Stuart and then jump through the other drivers. Kachow's just started. Calcis has just started. Will is on one. Mark of Kenya actually is on a lap as well. Where's Mark of Kenya? You might see him jump up a few spaces. Don't know what it is with him, but he just doesn't like qualifying. He only does one lap wonders. Stein stays out of the way, so Stein's going to be starting his lap very quick soon. There's a minute left on the timer, so drivers have gone early. They would have had a bit more time, but maybe they would even have enough time now to get round if they do make a mistake. So this is it. Final chance to get a good lap on. Stuart, very wide, doesn't get that apex at all around the final corner, but he crosses the line and goes 2.5 tenths quicker. So Henry's on a flying lap and he's got Kachow. Here's Kachow. Oh, is that Mercedes? No, it's not. Let's get back on with Kachow. Kachow is 1.5 tenths up, so he will be going into the 1 minute 14s if he can keep this pace up, and he will go into P2. He will jump ahead of standing in the standings. There he goes, 14.7, so still got 2 and a bit tenths, just under 2 tenths slower. Standing invalidates as I jump on board with him. Henry is still valid. No, he's not. He's invalid. Stein. What's Stein got? He's only got 300ths up on his best time. Michael Kenya's out of the session. He's retired. He's crashed at complex coming up. The right left. Obviously lost it on the exit. Oh, I don't know if he was... Stein's invalid. Stein is invalid. Calcis, is he on a flying lap? I believe he is. Will is also on a flying lap. Henry is qualifying is over. Samba is just under 1/10 quicker than what he's already got, and he goes even quicker. Goes 1.5 tenths, a 14.377, so he's well clear on pole position. Holmesy is out of qualifying. He's going to start in P11. NRL Ben is invalid. Calcis is invalid. Will is still valid, but 6,000. There he goes. Are we going to see him crash out? No, just spinning out. Stays well out of the way of Yerdy. Yerdy's finished his qualifying session. There's Will sitting backwards. There's Kachow on an in-lap. And that's qualifying over and done with, I think. Or is Bacon? No, Bacon's pitting. So that's qualifying done. We've got Samba on pole. Kachow splitting the Mercedes in P2 with Standing in P3. Dace with a good qualifying session at the end there in P4. 5,000ths off a 1 minute 14 time. Henry 1900ths off 1 minute 14. Stein very, very close. Those three drivers in P4, 5 and 6. And that is qualifying over and done with. Interesting, but Samba, the championship leader, gets another pole position. And we'll see if he can convert that into a good race win. Okay, so that Tomasi is the diagonal mar. And we'll be going racing very, very shortly. So as you join us back, we're loading into the lobby, loading into the grid, and look at all that water. Lots of standing water. Last time we had this much water was SFR last season, and Will missed all of qualifying, came in for the race, joined on the grid, and didn't even make it. He started towards the back of the grid, obviously, didn't even make it past the start-finish line. Was crashed out. It was about a 3-car pile-up. And yeah, so Hungary, as I said, when it rains here, it rains here. So we'll watch out for any incidents heading into turn 1. Obviously, the in-real life race started on started wet, and Bottas went bowling into turn 1. Took out Lando, took out Verstappen, and took out Leclerc as well, I think it was, wasn't it? Looks from the weather report, we're going to have at least half the race with fully wet conditions. When it starts to get a bit lighter, so we might see some inters, and then right at the end we could possibly see some drying track weather and maybe a quick burst of the soft tyres right at the end of the race. So quick look, see what tyres everyone's picking. Everyone is picking the intermediate, so it's not fully wet. It's probably right on the crossover from inters to wet tyres. The game in default is saying into inter. We'll see what comes of everyone's strategy shortly. Just waiting for everyone to get themselves ready, put a wetter setup on the car. Here we go, we have a 30-second countdown. So we're going to watch turn 1. Turn 1 is going to be very interesting, see if anyone decides to Bottas it and go bowling. We normally always see one. There's always one driver who misses their braking point, especially in the wet, and ends up either taking himself or someone else out with them. And for the drivers and Honesy throws a wet tyre on right at the end. We know he likes to do opposing strategies, reverse strategies. He has gone wet tyres. Watch out for Honesy. It does look very wet. There's lots of standing water, so the game default does say inter, but Jeff never knows what he's talking about. So we could see a bit of this could be a bit of a masterstroke by Honesy. It could be an absolute disaster. You never know. The tyres here heat up very quickly. They overheat so fast, and with it being it does look like there's standing water, so the wets will work here. It just depends if there's enough standing water to give him the pace. We will find out very shortly. Yeah, so Kachal's just finally realising that it's hella wet, and Honesy's saying big brain time. So yeah, I think Honesy may well have pulled a masterstroke. They do even on the formation lap, they look like they're struggling for it. So we will be keeping a mega eye on Honesy and see what he can bring to the party. Yeah, Delta, big brain. A definite big brain time for Hones. Let's see what everyone. I don't think anyone else put the wets on. No. Watch out for his start. He could be there, but it could also be a huge mistake from him. He made a big mistake last week in SFR with his tyre strategy. Ended up pitting 3 times in the first 5 or 6 laps. So yeah, he likes to do something different. That's what he likes to do. Doesn't like to follow norms of society. He is Dutch after all. Not hating on the Dutch, that was a joke. But yeah, we'll see what comes of everyone come turn 1. See what his start is like. He's starting right in the midfield, right in the middle of the pack in his Ferrari. But ART Samba is going to lead us off the line down to turn 1, and Tom GoProf is going to be the last driver. We have got a is that Mark of Kenya? Yeah, Mark of Kenya is going to hold up the whole grid. warming his tyres up too much there. They're going to be hella hot. That's the word of the day, hella. Let's see what Mark of Kenya, if he can get his tyres cooled down before the end as he joins the back of the grid. Samba's tyres are going to be going a little bit colder. Waiting for everyone to join up. We're going to get a better camera angle than this. Hopefully we are. This is pretty... Oh no, don't give me this camera angle. There we go, that's better. That's better. Let's jump on with Henry in P5. The lights go out, we go away. Oh, God, don't do this to me, come on. Samba gets away well. It's Crib on the outside of Kachow. Moves across. He's going to go around the outside as he enters turn 1. He gives up that position. Kachow breaks very late. Dace on the inside with Will. Henry sort of making a good start. Kelsis, we're seeing Stewart drop down a little bit. We're seeing Henry move ahead of Dace. Henry up the inside of Dace. We've also got the AlphaTauri Stein going up the inside of Dace there, have we? Will's had a good start in P... And who's that going off? That's Will. Will's been pushed off into the wall, so he's fallen back down the grid so fast. I don't know if he picked up any damage. I think he might be alright. What's Holmesy doing on these wets? Let's watch Holmes. We might have just seen a bit of wing. Oh, and who's that? The Red Bull of Tomasi or Mara going off there. So we've lost Tomasi. He's going to fall to that back of the grid. What's Holmesy doing? He's obviously lost two. He's only lost a position. So once these wet tyres do start digging in, they might be alright, but keeping them cool is going to be the issue here. It doesn't look like he's losing time to Mark of Kenya. It doesn't look like he's struggling, but he did struggle on the exit curve there. Let's find out position gains and lost from the first lap. So Stewart has gained 8 positions in his Alfa Romeo, car number 69, nice. Samba sets the fastest lap of the race with 34.625, but he's always going to be so if he managed to stay in first as he was the first driver. Holmesy in the pits. I don't think he likes these wet tyres. I think his big brain is Homer Simpson size. Yeah, out come the Inters, is that? Yeah, intermediate tyres. So the wet strategy didn't work for him. Will is replacing his front wing with intermediate tyres. Yerdy's at the back of the grid in P18. Lost a position. Mr. Woot's gained 2. Tom has gained 7. So he's had a good start. Mark of Kenya's gained 7 as well. Brilliant start from him. But yeah, on the first lap, Stewart gained the most positions of 8. Will and Holmesy have obviously lost the most positions. Dace has dropped 2 down to P6 from P4. Henry is in P4 right now with Calcis in P5. Standing currently in P3 with Henry right on his gearbox. Pretty much pushing him through those few corners. And already got Samba with a nearly a 3-second lead now, 2.8 seconds. So I think he's going to check himself out, especially in the first stint anyway. And we'll see what happens when the race starts coming back to other drivers, when the weather starts drying up inevitably towards the end. Just looking down, the Samba goes a 28.655, so his times are starting to come down. Obviously it was a standing start, so you do lose some time, so I'll see what his next lap time is like. The gaps are all pretty consistent. Henry was getting very close into the back of the standing, but didn't make any further moves. Who was that? That was Calcis making a very good move up the inside there of Henry. What a move that was. Came out of nowhere. So Calcis jumps up into P4, drops Henry down into P5. Not sure if Henry had maybe a bit of a moment coming out of turn 3. Stein hasn't really gained much. He's down in P7 again, so he's not having the race that he wanted with Samba out front checking out. Stein needs to be a bit closer to him. Toss currently in P10's lost 2 positions. who's that coming up the inside? It looked like Kenya was going to absolutely send it then, but twitchy on the exit there from Kenya. So maybe he's struggling with tyres, maybe they're overheating a little bit, but he got out of that move quite early. Right, we're back live. There's a dash off very quickly there. We've lost Will. Will's DNF'd. I think he spun. I think I've heard through the grapevine that Will spun and DNF'd. Didn't DNF from the spin, but he was right at the back of the grid, probably about to get lapped, and yeah, needed to get himself out of the race, save himself any embarrassment later on. Stein running low fuel. Let's have a quick check down the driver, see what their fuel level's like. Kalsis is underfueled. Stein's underfueled. Stewart's underfueled. Kenya's underfueled. Havina has underfueled himself, so is Mr. Woot. So yeah, watch out for those. Holmesy's slowly catching himself up, but he's going to be right at the back of the pack. Samba's obviously checked out completely now, 4.5, just under 4.5 seconds clear. Henry is still behind Kalsis, not able to catch up too much. Viet P9. So it looks like the race has settled down basically. It's not, I'm going to put my hands up and say it is not the most interesting race at all. The gaps are all there. It's, like I said before, it's nicknamed Monaco without the walls. It's very hard to overtake. It's very easy just to follow cars through. I say easy to follow. It's very hard to follow cars through, but it's very easy just to get into a pattern of just following the car ahead and not being able to gain enough time as that final corner is very hard to follow through. Say follow through. Delta knows what I'm on about there. If he's still listening, that is. Who knows? I think Will's probably going to want to join me in the commentary box, so I will just invite Will in very quickly, get someone to talk to, because it's very... Let's get Will in here, shall we? Players... See if he wants to join. I will send him an invite across. No, he's playing a different game already. Okay. Okay, let's not do that then. So, yeah, there's nothing really for me to talk about just yet. I'm not going to overanalyze things. Everyone's on the intermediate tyre. Andy obviously tried the wet tyre at the start, but didn't happen for him, so he came in on the pits right at the end. And the drivers are just driving around the Hungaroring so far. Henry's losing time to Calcis now, so Calcis is pulling away from Henry. Dace is sat in P6, just sat there with 2.5 seconds behind Henry. And he's got Stein just behind him. Stein not able to catch up too much. We've got Viet in P9, Toss in P10, Stewart having a good race so far, still in P8. No one's got any penalties. Yes, they have, actually. Yes, they have. Diagonal Mara has got a penalty, 3 seconds for corner cutting. So that's Tomasi in the Discord, or Diagonal Mara on the game. Mr. Woot having his not so successful race start. Normally when he starts at the back, he moves himself right out of the grid, but he's still got time to move himself up there. And when I find when he starts at the front of the grid, he tumbles backwards. But when he starts at the back, he moves forward. So watch out for him towards the end of the race. He always puts on a bit of a show for everybody on watching the stream. And that is pretty much it. The gaps are just 7/10. They're either 2 seconds or 7/10 with the drivers in the train. As you can see on the map, it's all very spaced out. Between the front three, then we've got a small group of drivers. Toss picks up a 3-second time penalty, and we've got just trains of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars there, from the Haas of Dace down to the Alfa Romeo of Toss. Yeah, so it's all not a lot really is going on. Not a lot is going on so far. We're going to have a bit of a spark. Someone needs to light the litmus paper and see what we can bring to this race. No one's really making any moves for overtakes. Calcis has definitely made the overtake of the race so far on Henry a few laps ago. And he's got another 3 seconds since we last checked in with him. So he's probably kicking himself a little bit, but you know, if he didn't try it, he would never have known if it would work. There goes Stewart's first 3-second time penalty. So Stewart picks up his first 3-seconder. Samba's got a 6.3 second lead, so let's watch Samba so far running down towards the end of the second sector, and he's into the third sector now, into the corner where it loops back on yourself. Yeah. Yeah, the Delta's 25 more laps, watching a train, waiting for Holmesy to catch Yerdy so we can get at least one overtake. You never know. Yerdy is... oh, hang on a minute. Yerdy's just overtaken Mr. Woot. Yerdy's gone for a move on Mr. Woot. You missed it. I'm sorry you missed it, but Woot seems to be struggling in these conditions. So he's going to want it to dry up as quickly as it can, and he can get his Williams back in top gear and move back through the grid. So Holmesy now is only... Here we go. This could be a move for Holmesy here. The one we've all been waiting for. No, it's not. Holmesy's not quite close enough, but he moves within 7/10 of Mr. Woot. Mr. Woot's 6/10 within... Oh, who's that? Woot's off. Woot moves out. Does he move out of the way? I think he is really struggling. He just wants a nice Saturday evening drive around the Hungaroring. So it's an easy overtake there for Holmesy. Not even the one, you know, Delta wanted an overtake. We're not giving him overtakes just yet. Mr. Woot's just moving out of the way. What can Holmesy do on Yerdy then? Let's watch as we go through here. Stein is very close to Dace, but not close enough, I don't think. Let's jump up here. I think Stein's lost some time. Yes, he's fallen back a little bit, so it's unfortunate. Toss is pretty close to the back of Via, is he? Yeah, he's close there, but then just with the exit. Delta's saying we got some action. We got some action, but Mr. Woot just moving out of the way. Is Toss going to provide us with any action around the final corner as he powers down? Weir gets very twitchy on the exit, but I think Toss lost a bit of time there as well. The gap's now 7/10, so yeah, not a lot going on there. Stein has gained a little bit of time on Dace, but not enough to move alongside and get ahead. Tom, go Prof. Again, no one's close enough. Holmesy though, is he? No, he's not. He's 4/10 off Yerdy. Is he going to be able to put a move on him into turn 2? No. He's not. Yerdy's still ahead. Still in P17. Holmesy in P18. So, you know, Holmesy's going to want to get as far up the grid as he possibly can. All the drivers do obviously want that. He needs to start clawing some championship points back. He's not doing brilliantly in the championship so far. He's currently in P5 and he is nigh on 45.5 points behind Samba. So we've got a yellow flag. That is Mr. Woot spinning himself round. Samba sets the fastest lap of the race. Has Woot got any damage? Are we going to be seeing a... Yes, he's lost his front left end plate there, so he's going to be one of coming into the pits shortly. Holmesy's not getting any closer to Yerdy. Gap's coming down from Stein. Is he going to be close enough to get ahead? No, he's not close enough to make a move on Dace, and the gap to leader for Stein now is nearly 20 seconds, so Samba has pretty much a pit stop clear. He's already a pit stop clear. It's a family show, Delta. I can't repeat that. And yes, Callie, it is horrendously boring right now. There is literally not been an overtake for about 10 laps. I'm struggling to... Yerdy overtook Woot, but I think that was because Woot made a mistake. Oh, hang on. There goes Holmesy up the inside, round the outside of Yerdy, and we have an overtake. That's 1 in 10 laps. I hope we don't have to wait 10 laps for another overtake. That's a good move there from Holmesy. Holmesy is ahead of Yerdy and providing us with a little bit of action. Now just keep overtaking each other for the rest of the race so we can just watch something. Yeah, Callie, it's a very boring race. Let's just confirm that. Very boring. Nothing is happening just yet, but it is due to dry up, so that's going to throw out some interesting strategies about when drivers do dump off the tyres. It is, yeah. As soon as you join, Callie, it started getting interesting. We've got yellow flag. Woot again, I believe. There he goes, pirouetting. And here comes Samba. He's going to ghost out. And with a new front wing on as well for Woot, it's just not going his way. Twitchy on the exit, shaking his little tush around on the exit of turn 5. And yes, good. Here goes Tongo Prof. Again, I'm just looking at these gaps and they're just sitting all about the same. They're actually opening up. Most of them are within a second now. There's just nothing going on. Let's get back to Stein. Let's watch from Stein's cockpit, shall we, as he follows Dace through these few corners. Again, like I say, in the dry it's bad enough, in the wet it's probably even worse for these drivers. The dirty air, the downforce, the turbulence, the spray. It does look like it's not raining quite as heavy. So these inters could come into a world of their own. In the next few laps, and we'll see what drivers can control the inters when they start heating up a bit more, start nailing in to, got a yellow flag. It's a McLaren. Henry. Whoa! Big news for Henry. Spins on the exit of the last corner. And that's Henry. Has he got damage? Yes. Absolutely no front wing. VSC. That's not going to help Henry out at all. Is he still got to do a whole lap before he can come back in the pits? Viet has got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. And here we go. It starts getting spicy now. Callie's joined us and it's getting spicy. So that moves all the drivers up a position from P5 downwards. So Dace now takes P5, Stein P6, Stuart P7, Toss P8. Viet with a 5-second, and Mark of Kenya with 5 seconds as well. Still under virtual safety car conditions. What was that? Tom, very racy with Ben in the VSC period. Good point, Callie, actually. Callie's mentioned that a lot of them passed. Yeah, they both passed Henry when he was probably driving again. And yeah, they overtook him, so that could be that. So they could get those 5 seconds taken away, but they have got to pit again, and they won't get taken away if they pit. So yeah, they're going to keep those 5 seconds, I believe. And we go racing again. We are getting racy. We're going racing. Yerdy's picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cuts. Tom very close to the back of Ben. Is we going to see a move up the inside? No, we're not. Tom filters in back behind Ben, but we could see him get a slingshot. Engage around the final corner. Get a good exit here. And speed down to turn 1. Is he going to get a move in? Is he going to get a move in? No, he's not. Typical Hungary, where you just don't get the pace advantage on the straight down. Henry is in the pits. There he is. Sad looking McLaren car coming out, having a horrible race in McLaren today. Will's already out the race. Henry is pretty much out the race as well. Delta's made a good point. Has Henry lost it? He used to be leading the pack. He did. He cuts the exit there at the white line. I'm surprised he didn't get a warning or a penalty for that. Delta's also saying that Kachau hasn't spun yet, so wait for a Kachau spin. And that Marco Kenya hasn't killed anyone yet, as he's normally, he's normally pretty good at taking interesting lines when overtaking. Interesting line there to not get himself a 3-second warning for a corner cutting. Bacon gets a 3-second corner cut penalty. Tom still struggling to get past Ben. Holmesy still ahead of Yerdy, 3 and a bit seconds now, and he's just behind Tomasi or Diagonal Mar. Moved himself up to P15. Where's Henry at? Henry is on in a race of his own, and the other driver in a race of their own right now is this guy, Samba, with nearly a 10-second lead ahead of Kachau as he goes through the chicane. He's on just a nice little drive he is today, isn't he, old Samba, the Belgian. Stein still not able to get close enough to Dace to pass. Gaps are getting a bit closer, are they? No, not really. I mean, Hainsey is probably the only driver at the minute who's going to have the pace advantage towards the drivers towards the back of the grid to make any kind of moves. Kelly is now leaving the stream, so the race is now going to revert to... Yeah, so Kelly's left the stream and it's now going to revert to boringness. Henry has got a 3-second corner cutting time penalty. Probably pushing very hard right now, probably a bit of a mood with himself. Excuse me. That's how boring the race is so far. I'm yawning already. I'm yawning. He looked very close to the back of Diagonal Mar there. Mar. Is he going to be close enough to make a move? Are we going to see another overtake in this race? Are we going to see one? He's very close. Let's ride on board with him. Let's get right on. No, I don't think he is. I think he's not going to be close enough to him. Brakes a lot later than Mar into turn 1, but not late enough to get the move or to be able to send one up the inside or round the outside. I don't think he's going to be close enough there. As you see, Mara just touched the outside curb. We've got a yellow flag. What's this yellow flag going on? What is the yellow flag? It appears to be one of these drivers through here. But it doesn't look like anyone's lost any time. Kachow gets a 3-second time penalty. So what needs to happen now is standing needs to start, and Dace, the drivers are starting, the 3 seconds are starting to come in thick and fast now. So we've got pretty much 2/3 of the grid all with 3 seconds, and we've lost the first 12 laps with only one driver getting one. So they're starting to come in, the drivers are starting to find the limits. Maybe the tyres are starting to go off a little bit. They're going to need to pit pretty soon. I'm nearly halfway through. Oh yeah, we are halfway through the race now, so you're going to be looking to make a pit stop. Some drivers are probably going to try and push until the weather dries up. So the last bit of the race is due to dry up, but the weather is an approximate, so it's not guaranteed. Where's Holmesy? Is he going to be the entertainment for today? No, he's not. Locks up again. Kelsey's not close enough. Stein's not close enough. No one is close enough. It's very hard to get enthusiastic about the race. Holmesy there? No, not enough. No, Holmesy's not. It looked like he might have gone for the spectacular. Yellow flag. Who's this? It is. Is it Dace? No, it's not. It's Mark of Kenya. Yeah, it's Mark of Kenya who's had an off. So Mark of Kenya is he's no damage, but he's dropped now down to P16, so right down towards the back of the grid. There's a free position for Holmesy. So yeah, he doesn't kill anyone, but he didn't even kill himself in the race. I'm not saying obviously that, not promoting that at all. It was more just he's not out of the race, he's not DNF'd. He's still driving. He's still driving round. No damage. I say driving, he's taking interesting lines again through there. Obviously struggling with the weather. He's got his teammate of Havina coming up quickly behind him. Is Kenya going to pit? He pits. Is he going to be... What tyre is he going to go on to? Is he going to risk a soft? I wouldn't have thought so. It still looks way too wet. DRS has not been enabled yet. Mr. Wu at the back has been lapped now. Quite a few cars. He's obviously had another off. Henry says the fastest lap of the race, so he's got some pace in him. He was just stuck in a bit of a train and couldn't get anywhere. No other moves going on, is there? Is Holmesy close enough to Mar? No, he's not. Yeah, we're not seeing much going on. Let's stay on board with Holmesy. He's going to be the only driver at the minute to possibly provide us with any kind of entertainment. So let's ride on board with Holmesy. A bit twitchy on the exit. Turn 8 there. He's coming to turn 9. Who's this? Dace. What's happened to Dace? SFR last season, he spun at the next corner about halfway through the race, and he spun a corner early, so now his good race is now falling apart. He's lost 4 or 5 positions there. He's going to be struggling now to get back ahead of the pack, as that gives Stein a free position, gives Toss, Stewart and Viet free positions as well. So he's on a race of his own in the middle there. We'll see what his pace is like without anyone in front or behind him. See if he can catch back up to the back of the pack and maybe get possibly back ahead. Holmesy again. Oh, Diet Mar, very twitchy on the exit there. We could see a move here. If Holmesy's exit is good, he's going to try the inside. Mar covers it and brakes very early there as well. So Holmesy, that's not good for Holmesy. think he took the Max Verstappen line, did Mar. Same track as well. I think Verstappen was doing that a few years ago in Hungary, just basically just putting his car in the middle of the track and then moving slightly to whatever side the driver was going to go to. He's definitely having to spar. And I think he was caught up for it in Hungary as well, just defending a bit too hard. Braked a bit too early there for Holmesy, and yeah, Holmesy, I don't think he's got any damage. Not visible anyway. He might have some internal wing damage. And who's this? Tom Goproff. As I jump on board with him. And there goes Diagonal Mar. He's spun it as well, so the drivers are starting. I think the tyres are definitely starting to go off. They've done 20 laps, there's 15 remaining. Maybe it's time for them to start putting fresh intermediate tyres on. I think they want to go until they're running on a dry track. But I think if drivers are starting to struggle, you're going to find some time. No, they're staying out. They're staying out. So we've pretty much, the two Red Bulls really struggled within a couple of corners of each other. And that gives Holmesy another free position. So is he now going to have the pace advantage over Tom to make an overtake? Henry sets another fastest lap of the race with 27.213, so he's got some pace. We've got a yellow flag. Who is this? Is that the Williams, I think, of Mr. Woot? No, it's not. Sorry, Mr. Woot. Who's that? Who's going slowly there? I think it was Mark of Kenya. No, it wasn't. Who was that? Who was Mr. Woot? I don't even know right now. I couldn't even tell you. The driver just seemed to just disappear. Right. Back on board with Holmes. As he comes again, takes that wide line, stays on track for as long as possible to prevent himself from getting a warning. He's taken full advantage of the glitches in the games. And there goes Holmesy, gets past Tom Goproff into the braking zone at turn 1, so we have a move for the lead. We have a move as Holmesy leads himself back up the grid to where he started. He's now only one position from where he started from. He's done well to get back, but his wet tyre start, his strategy gamble hasn't paid off. It has taken him 22 laps to get back to where he started from. So we've got Samba in the lead with a 12-second lead over Kachow. Kachow has 3-second time penalty. Standing Crib in P3 with Kelsas P4, Stein P5. So both AlphaTauri is going to be bringing home good points if it stays as is. Toss and Stewart in both Alfa Romeos in P6 and P7. Viet in P8. Stace in P9 after his spin earlier a few laps ago. And Ben rounding off. We've lost Mark of Kenya. That's in the pit lane, so there's going to be no safety car. But who was that? That was Tom Goproff into the wall. I thought I heard a bang in the background. But he's very close there to ERT Henry as he comes back on the track. But yeah, Tom Goproff hasn't lost the car. Hasn't lost a wheel, should we say, on the car. All 4 wheels are on his wagon still. He will be needing to come into the pits. It looks like the rain. It doesn't look like it's raining anymore. Is he going to miss the pit entry? No, just about makes it. I've made that mistake before coming into the pits in Spain and at this track, where obviously the wall juts out as you come into the pit lane, and you end up. And Tom Goproff does retire from the session. So we've lost Mark, we've lost Will, and we've lost Tom Goproff now. Yerdy is in the wall. I don't think he's got any damage, not visible anyway. Yerdy not having his best race so far. Tomasi or Mar comes around and overtakes Yerdy. Henry back into P14. Havina in 13th. Holmesy is on the back of Bacon now, and he's looking to get back his P11 that he started the race on. Bacon is just behind NRL Ben, and other than that, apart from these 3 drivers, there's about at least a second gap if not more, to all the rest of the drivers throughout the grid. Cowsers does just drop under a second. But yeah, this is the closest battle on track, so let's just stay on board with these until anything else changes. Mr. Woot's still going strong. He's 2 minutes behind anyone else. But, you know, he's just here for the fun. Who's this coming in the pits? Bacon Pits. Right, Bacon is coming in the pits. What's he going to do? It looks like it's getting a bit lighter out there. The weather has changed. It isn't raining anymore. Now, is Bacon going to be the first driver onto soft tyres? Probably need to go medium at this point to get him to the end of the race. There go the mediums. The softs probably wouldn't last as long, so he's put medium tyres on. First driver. This is where we're going to start seeing things. So let's now go to the tyre situation. Okay, let's follow on. Oh, it's not ready. We're not ready for slick tyres at all. I think that just goes to prove. I think Bacon's just realised that coming out of the pits. Put his foot down. Oh, the car just doesn't want to pick up any traction. You can just see it sliding. It's not turning. There's understeer everywhere. It's still too wet, unfortunately. I think we're only about a lap or two away from it. But Bacon is going to lose a horrendous amount of time now, trying to keep this car in a forward motion with a bit of going forwards at a decent pace as well. I think he's going to struggle. Doesn't look like he can get the revs up. The car just doesn't want to turn into the chicane. No, I think he's made a mistake. I think he's gone early. It was a good gamble. The two gambles that have happened so far, with Holmesy starting on wet and Bacon going on to the medium tyres on lap 25 with 10 laps remaining, is not paying off. Yerdy is now on mediums. Yeah, Yerdy's having the same issues as well. Can't get that car turned in. He's trying to, hits a wet patch there and just about keeps it on track. He's in the wall. He's lost a wing. He's lost a wing. This is unfortunate. Absolutely unfortunate for some of these drivers. They're gambling with the tyres, but unfortunately it's not the gamble that you want. Bacon stays out. He decides to stay out. And Holmesy is now, let's say, back in his P11 spot that he started in. Is he going to be able to get any points today? He's NRL ban at 1 point. Had a 100% point scoring ratio in NRL for about 2 seasons, or at least a season and a half. That ratio went, as I said, a few difficult races since then, but he's still in P10, he's still in the point scoring position, but Holmesy's going to be coming up fast on him. So we'll see what Holmesy has got in the bag and see what strategies people play as well. Obviously the drivers are looking at the Bacon and the early situation now on the medium tyres, and they're going to be Yerdy's coming in. Now what's he going to do? Is he going to put another set of mediums on? He could possibly go soft. The soft tyre is obviously better in damp conditions, as there is a lot more. Yerdy's retired from the session. Yerdy's leaving, so we've lost Yerdy. Now let's see what Bacon, how's Bacon getting on? What's his car feeling like? What do you reckon? He's not even at full throttle at all. He's got no... He's just not able to get the car. He's at through full throttle now, which is good. Wasn't at it for very long. Had to come off the power very early. The car just doesn't want to turn in. I am expecting, though, to see the message come up. DR, because look at the weather now. It's blue sky starting to break through. It's getting very bright. It's not raining. Mr. Woot gets lapped for the second time, I believe. And Woot is gaining time on Bacon quite rapidly, and Bacon is losing time massively rapidly to Mara up ahead of him. Again, nothing else is happening so far. All the gaps are pretty far apart from everybody. There's a few drivers, few battles, few trains going on. But other than that, not a lot. The Ferrari of, I think that's Holmesy in P11. No, it's not. It's the Ferrari Kachow lapping Bacon there, I believe. Yeah, it was. So if we have a safety car now, Bacon's race is pretty much finished. He needs to stay out for as long as he needs to get these mediums working. And no one else has risked it just yet. The only other driver to risk it was Yerdy, but he decided against it after a few incidents and retired from the race. Viet is the first driver, I think, to pick up 6 seconds. Oh, he's got 8 seconds actually, a 5-second incident for ignoring yellow flags and a 3-second time penalty. Diagonal Morris got 2 3-second corner cut penalties, so he's on 6. And he really can't appear to get the power down out of turn 5. He's still close to Ben. He's obviously just going to be struggling with Henry's pretty close now actually to Havina. Oh, huge tank slapper on there, and there goes DRS. DRS is now enabled. We're going to now see Bacon. As the drivers start pitting, he unlaps himself. Now this is where Bacon, I think the drivers are probably going to be going on to soft tyres. Yeah, Stein's gone soft. No, he hasn't. Stein's staying out. Kachow's gone soft. Standing's gone soft. Calcis has gone soft as well. Bacon obviously on the came in slightly earlier. But he will have a tyre advantage over everybody else now. This is when he's going to come into his own, see how much time he can possibly make up. We could see drivers start to make up time on Samba as well, i.e. Kachow and Standing. So we'll see what Kachow's got, see what his pace is like on these soft tyres. He's obviously going to have grip. He's on the fastest compound tyre. He's going to have a lap at least where he can absolutely floor it. We'll keep an eye on Samba as well, see if Samba pits. So Kachow's got to make this lap count. He's got to make it count. He's got to get as much speed and as much time as possible and see what the gap was. It was about 13-14 seconds last time I looked. He probably would have made up at least 3 or 4 seconds on this lap alone. And come out just behind. Stein is going to have to pit as well, so Stein is in no man's land at the minute. Stein's got a pit, and everyone is going on to soft tyres. Stein is the last driver to get the intermediates off. His strategy hasn't paid well. His track placement hasn't paid off there. Right. Samba's at the pits. He's round turn 1. Kachow has gained a little bit of time, but not a lot. Standing takes P3. Kaus is in P4. Stein is going to lose. I think he's going to lose P6 here. He's going to lose P6. Coming in that lap later, and Toss has made the jump, so Toss is now up to P5. So Stein is in the middle of an Alfa Romeo sandwich. So we're going to see a bit more action, I think, here. Holmesy has gotten past Ben. So Holmesy now up into P10. Both drivers on soft tyres. Bacon obviously lost so much time with his experiment and gamble coming in early. Has gained time obviously on the drivers, at least 10 seconds. But he lost so much time before that. He's in the pits. Stewart's pitting. He must have had some damage because he's only just been on those soft tyres. Yeah, Kachow did gain some time on Samba, but probably only about 2 seconds, maybe, yeah, probably about 2 seconds. So not as much as he probably would have wished and hoped for. So Mercedes is still running a double podium in P1 and P3. Bacon sets the fastest lap of the race. Those mediums are definitely coming into him now. He's got some pace, just not the strategy to go with it. And the gaps are even further apart now. There is no one close on track at all. Look at the gaps. It's at least, I think the closest is a 1.9. 1.1 between Diagonal and Henry. I thought the field spread would come in a bit more when it started rain and it stopped raining and the drivers started going on these slick tyres, but in fact it's actually getting bigger. Holmesy sets the fastest lap of the race. He goes into the 1 minute 19s, 4:47. Woot picks up a 3-second time penalty. So Holmesy's only 2. We've got a yellow flag. What's this? It's Mr. Woot. Unfortunately, his setup is obviously not Not good today. He's really struggling with his setup. And he's 2.2 seconds behind Dace. Diagonal's losing time, I think, to Henry, is he? Or is Henry... yeah, Henry's pulling away a little bit. Definitely catching up to the back of Stewart. He was... 2 seconds. Standing sets the fast lap of the race now with a 1:18.065. I assume Samba's just warming himself up before he sets the fastest lap of the race. Doesn't have to. He's going to pick up 25 big points. We've got a yellow flag. That's Stuart Little. We're having more spins now than we had when it was raining. That's interesting. Stein sets the fastest lap of the race with a 17.6. So yeah, more drivers are spinning now that it's dry than it would before when it was fully wet, as the Mercedes of Samba, I think that is, yeah, comes through to lap Stewart. So Stewart is having a great wet race, but his dry race has been, for want of a better word, absolutely bloody terrible. Henry's pitting. What's happening to Henry? Is he retiring from the race? What's he doing? Yeah, Henry's retiring. So we've lost Henry now. Henry is gaining time on Dace. He's gained about 1.5 seconds since I last saw him, and then there goes Samba easily into the 1:16s, and there's Mr. Woot again off the track. Fair play to the guy. He does not like. He wants to. He's a Jamaican bobsledder if ever I saw one. He wants to finish the race. Doesn't want to retire. Just wants to keep driving. He could be having the world's worst race, and he just stays out. Stewart has retired as well. We've lost Stewart, so lots of retirements through raging rather than crashing today. A few spins, but no one's had anything major enough to result in a wheel from flying off. So we're going to have DRS, but no one's within DRS of anyone, so it's all a bit pointless so far. Mr. Woot, as I jump on board with him, the entertainment factor today has been pretty good from him. Those tyres are going to be absolutely cooked. He's currently on lap 29. Samba's currently on lap 32. Yeah. So he's quite far down. This is gap to the leader. He's 3 laps down on the leader. Unfortunate for Mr. Woot, but he keeps going. Just keeps swimming. He's a Dory in a world full of Nemos. Be a Dory. Just keep swimming. You can tell I've lost my mind now. Something like Disney films. I'm waiting for something to happen. Waiting. But I said before, I thought when the dry weather and the dry tyres came out, I thought we'd see a bit more action, but we're not. We're actually seeing a lot less, and we had a lot less earlier on. Samba just needs to hurry up, put his foot down, and end this misery. Don't mean to be rude, obviously. Just you know, it's Formula 1 has boring races every now and again, and this is a boring race. NRL is normally pretty jam-packed with action, and we're always due a race where nothing really happens. This is one of them. Hungary is very 50-50. I like the track. I'm not very good at this game, but I like the Hungaroring. I've always been half decent at it. I've got my best results here in league racing when I've raced around the Hungaroring. And we've got a yellow flag. I just automatically jumped to Mr. Woot, and it's Mr. Woot in the grab. I'm sorry. So I've always got my best results here, so I do like the track, but it is very difficult. It's a very difficult track to master, to learn. You know, the curves are evil. The weather is evil as well, as we've seen today. The weather's played a massive part in the racing proceedings. But Samba's going to run away with it. He's had an easy race. He's got the fastest lap by quite some distance. The only driver into the 1:16s, and he is well into the 1:16s as well. I think if he wanted to, he could have won this race by a hell of a lot more. It's obviously half a second quicker than anyone else on the track per lap. Minimal. We've got a yellow flag, it's a red bull. It's Diagonal Mar. He's off the track coming round there, the tricky turn 10. As who is that coming through? Is that Standing Crib, I believe? And he's not getting out of the way. Get out of the way! Being lapped. Yellow flag, is that Woot if I jump on board? Oh, Mr. Woot's retired. Mr. Woot's out. He's finally crashed on the final lap. And he's out of the race. That's unfortunate for Woot. I thought he just wanted to make it through to the end. We're not going to have a safety car, obviously. We're on the last lap. You know, we don't do Michael Massey's here. If it was Michael Massey, we would have an extra 4 laps. Honesy gets out of the way of the... Honesy's retiring as well. Okay. It's all going off. It's all going off on this last lap. We're losing lots of drivers. Yeah, if it was Michael Massey in charge today, we'd have an extra 4 laps with a safety car. And he'd bring the safety car in on the last lap and let Kachow overtake Samba for the lead of the race. Not salty, obviously. Kachow's got a 14-second deficit to Samba. The Stanley's having a great race in P3. Kelsis, obviously, with the overtake of the race on Henry very early on in P4. Toss having a good race in P5. Good points for... there we go. Missed Samba going across the line. The Samba takes the lead and the win and remains first in the drivers' standings. Kachow comes around the final corner. Back on form. Comes across in P2. Standing is going to come home in P3 to finish off the podium. Double Mercedes podium. Calcis just behind in P4. Toss not even around the final corner yet in P5, but he has got time penalty, so watch out for where he drops down. I think Stein is going to jump ahead of Toss, actually. Stein's going to get P5 back. Yes, he does. So it's an AlphaTauri 4th and 5th. Toss drops down to P6. Still a good result for him. Viet comes around the final corner. Himself and Dace have both got 3-second time penalty, so it's not going to affect them, and they're going to finish as and where they finished on track. Ben comes around the final corner. He's not close enough to Dace to jump ahead of him. And then we've got Havina, who's coming into the final couple of corners now. So Ben crosses the line, and here comes Havina. The final classified driver gets a point for himself. And there we go. The session and the race has ended. And GG's to ERT Samba for winning the race and extending his championship lead. So there's the final classification. Samba wins, Kachow P2. So the Belgian flag is switched 90 degrees and maybe mixed around a little bit for Kachow in P2. And a Dutchman on P3, Norwegian P4, Kelsis on P4, Stein P5. So a good result there for AlphaTauri. They're going to extend their championship lead, I believe, because Standing's not going to pick up any reserve driver points for them. Let me just get onto here to get a full rundown for everybody else, and the standings guy Domi, who isn't here this evening. There we go. We're going to have all that information fed back. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. That is NRL, and that is the stream over and done with.